Good evening. Thank you for joining me. I wanted to do a webinar about home selling because there are enough people want to sell their home as is, not because the house has a house in such a bad condition. It's more of they don't know what to do and how to even start. And a lot of times they think it's going to cost way more money than it really will be. So I want to go through the home selling in a big picture, and I will show you some samples of before and after, an example of marketing. And we'll go through some frequently asked questions like how to choose a listing price or how long does it take to sell a house. And then we'll go through Q&A. So if you have any questions, there's no dumb question, no silly questions. So you can write it on the chat on the bottom, and also you can raise your hand if you rather talk. Then we will unmute you so that you can talk. My goal today is to give you a roadmap so that when the time comes, that you are more prepared and you will be more comfortable making the decision. So now I am going to start the screen, share the screen. So Kim, later you will help me if there are any questions, that you will help me finding those.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Do you see me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, awesome. Selling your home, we'll go through it a little bit at a time. First of all, Hyunsu Lathrop, I have a slogan, a name that is hard to say but easy to trust. Originally from South Korea, I went to Indiana University to study an opera. So that's me singing in Madame Butterfly with Indianapolis Opera. And these are my ladies, my team. They help me to help my clients better so that I have more time with my clients, and they really help with my back end work. Hyunsu Lathrop by numbers. I came from Korea 2000. 2015, I was the Rookie of the Year. I've been #1 agent since 2020 for Coldwell Banker Woodbury office. I made it to top 1% agent worldwide. I'm not talking about this to brag, but I want you to know that working as a real estate agent is not my hobby. It's not part-time job. It's my obsession. It's my mission. So I do have 100% five-star reviews. I'm currently licensed in Minnesota. Wisconsin license is pending. It's gonna come any minute now. I am currently also manager associate for Coldwell Banker Woodbury office, and I became a director and executive committee member representing Coldwell Banker for entire Minnesota realtors. Okay, a little bit of Coldwell Banker. We locally have over 1,800 agents, 22 offices. Internationally, we have over 92,000 agents, lots of offices too. So my mom and I were in Italy one year, and we saw Coldwell Banker Realty sign, which is very cool. Okay, now let's talk about home selling process. I would say one of the most important thing is to decide. Deciding, is the selling the right thing or not? Or when would be a great time to sell? And the other thing is also, do we want to move out first, or do we want to stay in the house while you're selling? And which agents do you want to work with? We have a joke that if you don't have a realtor friends, you don't have any friends. That means there are a lot of agents, so that you want to really choose a good one, which is a good fit for you. Making a plan is the next thing. Once you know when you want to sell or how you want to go about, you really want to make a plan on kind of going backwards. Like, when do you want to be out of the house? To do that in this market, how long is it going to take? And knowing when you put the house on the market, and also your house condition, how long it's going to take. For that, that means we need to start this time. So we always like to go backwards from when we want to be in the next house. And then we have to prepare. I get these questions all the time. Like sometimes people just call randomly, say, should I replace a carpet? Should I paint the cabinets? Should I paint the wall? What color? It's not one size fits all. We want to make sure to do the right thing for your home in your price range because the buyers are different and we need to know which buyers we want to attract. And then we have to put it on the market and then we will sell the home. So I do want to go through the planning. How do we plan? And I get a call, say, hey, I want to sell my house. My first question is why? Why do you want to sell your house? And then it kind of divides into two different categories. One is I want to sell my house. The other is I need to sell my house. So oftentimes people say, well, we now have a couple of children. My house is way too big. Way too small. Or some people say, well, you know what? Kids are out. This home is way too big. So the size is the wrong for them. So they want a different house. Sometimes they're in a single family home, want to move to townhome, or they're in a townhome, they want to move to single family home. Sometimes it's not even the size, it's more about the style of the home. They are in a 2-story home, which was perfect. Now they want to be in the Rambler. And some people just say, I don't like the look of the current house, and they want to buy a new house because they don't like it. So then to achieve that, there are a couple of ways to do it. We buy a home, or we can build a house, or we just rent to the home that you like to, or sometimes renovate. So when people are talking with a realtor, a lot of times they are already thinking they are selling the house. But because I go from why perspective, I had a client who is a really good friend of mine. I helped her many times buying and selling, and her family is as well. She invited me for dinner and said she wants to sell her beautiful home and then downsize slightly and then buy a home in a different area. So I asked her why? Why do you want to do that? And she said her yard work is too much and the house is too big, etc. But then I realized what she's talking about. If we were to sell this home and move to another area we are talking about, I don't think she was going to be happy. So what I did was I recommended her to bring her washer and dryer, which was downstairs, to the main floor, so she could actually live on the main floor. And I also told her that you could hire landscaping people for rest of your life, and it will be still cheaper than selling or buying a house. So she actually cut down 3 trees from her backyard and put a putt-putt. And she did exactly what I recommended her to do. So she put washer and dryer on the main floor. And so she stayed put and she's happy. And we achieved the goal like that. How about we need to sell? Those sections are very often relocation. And then sometimes, unfortunately, people go through divorce. And some people are, it's their time in their season of their life, moving into assisted living or 55 plus type of home. Sometimes, sadly, family member pass away, then children or the left families are taking care of the home for the family. Sometimes people were renting a house and they are done with their tenants and they want to be done being a landlord. So let's talk about the preparation. This might be something that people are very curious. What would be the biggest bang for your buck? There are so many, but what's really important is we have to remove the eyesores. So if you're walking into a home and see a stain like that, and we all know it's not very expensive to replace a carpet, but then buyers are going to see that and think, what else can it be wrong in this house? And something like that we should definitely take care of. very often I see wrinkled carpet. And some people think you have to replace the carpet, but a lot of times people can actually come in the house and stretch the carpet so that you don't have to replace it. The light fixture, that is one of the things that you really want to pay attention to, because the right kind of light fixtures can really elevate the look of the home. And in this photo, not only the light fixture is really old, but all the light bulbs are different style. So when we go to see a home in the bathroom, you have 3 light bulbs in the vanity light. And if you see a blue light, yellow light, and a CFL light, it just looks really cheap. So I recommend you to not only have updated light fixtures. I mean, again, that's depending on the house, if we want to replace it or not replace it. That might be different, but that's why you want to have somebody you trust come in and tell you what to do. But always want to make sure all the light bulbs are working and they are matching colors. And I recommend 3000 K for the colors. So that is, I think that's 3000 K. So it's not blue, it's not super yellow. Of course, we have to clean the house. Buyers cannot look over when the house is really messy. So don't trust that when somebody say, oh yeah, they can look it over. They know that we are just trying to see the space. It doesn't work like that. Even the same space can completely change the emotion of the people walking in the home by setting the right setting. Curb appeal is very important. When we get the appraisal for the home to check the value, curb appeal might not add a lot, but the thing is, when the buyers come and see the home, I see often the buyers actually fall in love with the home because of the curb appeal. And you can tell people really love the home by seeing that. The other thing I wanted to talk to you about is, you heard neutralizing the decor. This Barbie home is really cute, but it might only attract a couple of people. So it's important to attract as many buyers as possible. Okay, now I would like to talk to you a little bit about how we did all this, the process. So these people, they decide to move out first. So they had a plan of, we kind of ran out of, and this home is not our dream home anymore. And we wanted a new dream home. So we decided to build a home. So we had a plan on how we are going to build it, when we move out, all that. And then we made a list of what we are going to do. So we changed some of the light fixtures, and there was some stain from the previous water damage from the kids' bathroom. Some of the window panes were in a really bad condition. Some of the hardwares were old, and the carpet needs to be washed. The deck needed some repair. And we were looking at the floor thinking, should we redo the floor or not? So we ended up refinishing the floor. So once we picked out all those items, what we are going to do, we arrange the workers. What's really important is that all the good ones are booked up quite far. So that's why we arrange them way, way in advance. So we knew when we are moving out. Before we moved out, we already had them all come in, gave us all the estimates, and they are scheduled. So that all the preparation, this looks like a lot of work, all this was done in about 2 weeks. So before they moved out, they did the declutter, and then we did a home prep round 1. The round 1 is the things that you can do while you're living in the house. Those are measuring things like for the window panes or the fixtures, picking out the light fixtures, or even replacing the light fixtures, because that can be done while you're living. And then we went through round 2, which is installing window panes. Now they came, so we installed those and doing some yard work. And then we moved out to a new place. once they moved out, and then that's when we do the messy work. We finishing the wood floor or washing the carpet and those messy, the last minute work. And then we stage the home. And then we launch the listing. So that was the home. Now, when it went on the market, this is what it looked like. I mean, it's night and day. It's beautiful. It was ready to move for the new buyers. These people were actually relocating, but what they did was they moved out kind of halfway, and we had all the plans set up, just like the last home. We made a list of what we are going to do and then what kind of fixture we are going to do. In this home, we needed some work on the floor in the basement, and then we had some damage in the ceiling and the paint issues, and the ground needs some work, and this fan didn't work. There were some peeling outside paint. So we went through some work. And what we did was, again, arrange all the workers and went through the decluttering in the round one. And then we moved to the downstairs, actually. And then we went to the round two. The reason we moved to the downstairs, meaning the seller moved to the downstairs, because the main floor is what's really important. And seller's items are really nice, but it's not going to be as nice as the staging company's items. So we moved downstairs so that we finish the preparation. And then we finished the round three. So main floor, staging company came and staged the main floor. And the lower level, we used their furniture and my staging items. So this, and then we launched the listing. This is what it looked after it was all done. So these people, they want to build a home and they had little children and they had a pet. They need to stay in the house while they're selling. So that can be a little bit scary, but it can be done. It's not uncommon to do that. We found the builder, we found the lot, and we found the layout, what we were going to build. And then we started the preparation and the selections. We arranged all the workers. And they decided, they started decluttering and pre-packing. And because they live in the home, you have a lot of items, right? But we wanted to show the home as best as we can. So we actually rent a storage. So they store a lot of items they are not going to use for the next 3-4 months. And then we went through prep round 1 and 2. And the third round, and when you are done, because they have their furniture in their house, we use their furniture and my staging items to stage. And then we launched the listing. When we sold their house, what we did was in the morning, we closed on their current house. In the afternoon, they closed their new house. And then we actually rent back from the new buyers for a couple of months. And then they moved to rental place until the house was done. So this was when it was ready to put it on the market. So they do live in the home. So these are their furniture, except I brought the coffee table, but we brought the lamps and the pictures to make it look like a model home. These people are also relocating, but they wanted to stay in the house while they're relocating. I mean, while they're selling the house, we went through the same thing: home preparation list, fixture selection, work arrangement, and then they pre-pack and store some items. And then we went through the home prep round 1 and 2, and then round 3, and again, staging using their furniture and my staging items. And we launched the listing, same thing again. They closed their current house in the morning and using their funds to buy the next house in their new location, afternoon closing. And we actually got the buyers to agree on the 2 days of occupancy so that they can move out slowly. So this was when it was done. So I thought you might be interested to find out how many people live in the house while they are selling. how many people move out before they are selling. So I went through my recent sellers, how many of them actually did. I went through one by one to see. So out of 64 sellers, we had a 29 relocation people. Out of those, 17 of them actually moved out. And then 9 of them moved out halfway. 3 of them stayed in the home while they're selling. 12 people, they are not buying anymore, they are renting. Those are the ones who went to assisted living or 55 plus, or decide to rent until they're familiar with the new place or whatever the reason. 7 of them moved out. 3 of them moved out halfway, and 2 of them stayed. The people who are buying, you can see more of the buying and the build. More people actually stayed in the house instead of moving out. I thought that's actually really quite interesting. So I want to show you a little more detail on what we did to pick out the light fixtures. This is one of the example. This home was a very nice home, and they currently already, they replaced this light fixture, I think not too long ago. They had this current island light fixture, these 3, the current dining light for this, but the rest of the lights were a little bit outdated, and we had a goal of selling this house for 900,000. I wanted to make sure that it shows the best. So we picked out this light on the right for office and a powder bathroom. They had a baby grand piano, and we picked this light. And the lower level bathroom, and they needed a new mirror. We also, there was a mirror. We bought, no, actually that one, different mirror. And the master bathroom, we had 3 of those lights, master seating area, and this light, and this light. These are so many lights. You can see how many we need. I put what kind of bulbs needed so that they don't have to wonder. We bought 6 of these, 10 of these, that, and this. Entire thing, entire light fixtures and the bulbs cost less than 1,200. And you will see how it looked after it. We were thinking of selling it for 900. That was our goal. It was recent. It was last year. And we ended up selling for 929, 929,900. And we hit the record for that side of the neighborhood. This is before and after. These people didn't want to move the table because it's going to be a pain. It costs money, but I did tell them it will be important. You do not want to be walking in the house. The first thing to see is a pool table. So they listened to me. We moved the pool table to downstairs, and we replaced the light fixture, and we staged the home. This one, again, we replaced the light fixtures, the wall sconces, and the chandelier, and we staged it. This one, they had a very high quality furniture, really, really high quality furniture, but the style was a little bit too particular. So I wanted to make sure it shows the best light. So what we did was we picked out some of the walls that were not clean to painted. A lot of the walls were already in good condition, but we literally picked that wall, that wall, that wall like this, not the entire thing. And then we replaced the light fixture here. This one, we only replaced the glass shades of the cover for the light. And then we staged the home. And this home sold for 950,000. So this one was actually listed with another agent, and that one didn't sell for, I believe, a couple of months. I want to say 4 months. And then she came to me, and then we ended up working together. And I did tell her that this home is really beautiful. I love green color, but when you're looking at a home with a small phone, that doesn't look so good in a small space. So what we did was, let's paint the kitchen. That's the only place we paint. We just paint the kitchen, and then we stage the home, and then we sold it right away with a full price. This home was actually, the seller moved out of the country, so they didn't live in the home, and they told me they want to sell as is because, because he doesn't even live in the country anymore, and of course doesn't know what to do. And I explain why it's important to not sell as it is, and I volunteer to take care of all the things as a contractor. And the home was nice, but it had a deck. It was so rotted, you couldn't even walk on it. So I got a couple of estimates, and they replaced the deck. Actually, they had two decks. That's one big one. And then off of the master suite, there was another small one. We had, I believe, 4 estimates, and we ended up replacing both for under $25,000. That we are talking about last year. We saved over $15,000 just for the deck. Anyway, and we went through the home to fix the things and whatever needs to be done. We sold this house for $950,000. And when you look at this home, imagine just 2.5 months ago, the seller wanted to sell as it is. I don't think I would have even be able to sell for $850 if we were to sell it as is. So this is some example of vacant staging. They do really good work. Staging is really, really important for the buyers to be able to see themselves. This is an example of occupied home staging. That is, especially when their sellers are living in the home, we use their furniture and my staging item. Again, we use their bed. I brought the lamps and the greeneries and things like that. So this is virtual staging. We see this all the time these days. I really don't recommend it too much. There are times I do it, but the reason I don't recommend is this. When we do the virtual staging, yes, it looks good, but the buyers come in. If the home is vacant, they wander around to look for the flaws because they don't know where to look at. By staging the home, we are telling them where to look at. So virtual staging, it can be good, but I don't recommend it unless that is the only way we could do. Photos are really important. People do say, oh, we use a professional photography, etc. But even the professionals, their levels are different. It's very important to get the right photos in the right order as well. And then we do the drone photo, of course. And again, photos are so important. So this is a video. Sometimes photos are just not high enough to show all the details of the home. Then we do the video. This is a home we replaced a light fixture. You can see. And it shows double-sided fireplace. And 3D virtual tour. 3D virtual tour is very important, especially for the buyers who are coming out of the state. So they are relocating and they want to visit Minnesota to look for the homes, but they want to see what it really looks like. And by doing the 3D virtual tour, they get to really kind of experience the home. Then they might fly in to just visit the home. And social media marketing. Nowadays, social media is really big, and you probably had a lot of people sharing each other. Like when there's something cool in Instagram or Facebook, people share things. So that's why we also advertise in social media. And I do a little bit of HGTV moment. And Zillow showcased something new that we started. A lot of buyers are still looking for homes through Zillow. So we are utilizing that by paying Zillow to make sure this home shows well and it shows differently because there are only a couple of homes per city that are showcasing. And one of the most important thing about that is when somebody want to contact the agent to visit the home or have any questions, they will be able to contact me directly instead of another agent who doesn't know anything about the house. As a listing agent, I can tell who are the buyer's agents working with the buyers that received my listing. So when the buyers are working with a realtor, they usually set up an auto search. So when the house hits the market, it will be emailed to the buyers. So these are more serious buyers really working with the agent. And then when they put heart, and I can tell who put the heart. So then I usually reach out to the agents to encourage for showing or invite them for open house. So now the preparation is done. It is time to launch the listing. How do we decide the listing price? Is your home one of a kind? It's not good or bad. If it's a one of a kind, we just have a different strategy on how to price it. What's sold in your neighborhood for how much in last 6 months? If your home is a unique home, you are not going to have many sold homes in the 6 months. In that case, we'll go out a year or even 2 years. Which of them are most compatible to your house? People say, well, sold for this much. But your neighbor's house is 1 level, your house is 2 level. That's going to be a different story. It needs to be comparable. And not only how much is sold for, what's important is how long did it take? If that house sold after being on the market for, let's say, 6 months, it tells you what the buyer activities is. And what other homes buyers will look at before seeing your house. That is different than my neighborhood or my neighbors. Because let's say I live in Wedgwood. If I am listing my house in Wedgwood, I'm thinking about the buyer who's going to come. They are going to look at the homes in Stowmill Farm, Dancing Waters, Wedgwood, Bailey's Arbor, and the new construction. Because they are going to compare other homes that go to 833 school district, very likely. So we need to know what they're comparing to. In Korea, we have an expression called know your enemies, know yourself, and you win every battle. Meaning you need to know who are the buyers and what other homes are on the market and how is my house compared to those. So we need to know all that. That's why I said, how does your house compare to other active homes? So it's one thing to compare to sold listings, and now we also have to compare to what's on the market currently. We need to remember active listing price is not a sold price. If 5 houses down from you is on the market for $700,000 for 3 months, it's very unlikely they will sell for $700,000. So these are the questions I hear quite often. How long does it take to close once house is sold? If the buyers are buying a house, the 100% cash, they could close as quickly as 2 weeks. If buyers are using a financing, average is about 6 weeks. But a lot of times, actually, seller get to tell, hey, I would like to close as quickly as possible. Then lender will be able to close about 4 weeks. Some seller says, I actually want to close after my son graduate high school or something, so that they want to close 8 weeks later. Yeah, we can do that too. What is the best paint color to use? It used to be beige, and then it was gray, and then it was white. So right now, my favorite color is Benjamin Moore Edgecombe Gray. So I used to love a Revere Pewter from Benjamin Moore, and then also Agreeable Gray in Sherwin-Williams. But now, after those, and then we use a lot of white. But then now white almost looks like a factory unless it's a really modern, brand new home. So I really love Edgecombe Gray because it's more like a gray. It's a warm gray. Should we do an inspection before putting the house on the market? I actually heard that question yesterday. It depends. There are homes that I recommend doing an inspection, but you have to know if you're doing an inspection, you have to disclose everything from the inspection. And also you might have to fix more items than buyers will actually ask for. A lot of times when the buyers do the inspection, they are not going to ask everything because there are no perfect house. And inspection is not to make the seller make the house up to code. For example, when you're building a brand new home, they do not allow to put an outlet on the kitchen island. I have an outlet on my kitchen island. I would want my new home to have the outlet on the kitchen island, but now they don't allow. So what does it mean? My kitchen is not up to code. That doesn't mean the buyers will ask me to change it or I have to do it, right? So inspection can be depending on the home. So speaking of the disclosure, what do we need to disclose? How about water in the basement like 10 years ago, but we fixed it, no more issues? The answer is yes. You disclose everything. You disclose everything and anything. And here's the example. One of my past clients, they were selling one of their cabin. And when we were going through disclosure, I told them that you have to disclose everything. And they said, oh, well, we have seen some bad droppings in front of the porch, but they've never seen bats, but they've seen it seasonally. Like certain season, they saw it more, but it was never a huge issue. Like, do we still need to disclose that? We never had an issue. It's just we noticed it. I said, yes, let's disclose it. We put it in the disclosure saying, we have seen bat droppings in the porch, front porch, actually, in front of the porch, occasionally. A year later, I got an email from the buyer. They had a bat infestation in their attic, and it cost several $1,000s for them to fix it, and they wanted my seller to pay. And I told them, seller disclosed what they knew. And that was it. My seller didn't have to pay anything. So it's important not just doing the right thing, but also to protect you. Should we paint the kitchen cabinet white? There are a lot of people who don't like the yellow honey oak, or some people think a kitchen cabinet should be white. Some people think it should be wood. So if you have a beautiful cherry cabinet, I wouldn't paint it. Some of the homes I did recommend painting it, like townhomes that I sold in Woodbury, because I know there are certain buyers want certain things. For certain buyers, it's more important than others. For example, the townhomes, I find it more the townhome buyers on the like a 300,000 or even a little bit lower. To them, stainless steel appliances seem to be a big deal. And also white kitchen. They want all nice white kitchen. So it's not yes to everybody. It's going to be depend. Do we really need an open house? How many times I hear, I don't want any open house, by the way. I don't want my neighbors coming in the house and just looking. I don't want it. But here's the thing. Like, I showed a home today, and my buyer is saying, well, tomorrow is actually my birthday. So they said, oh, it's your birthday. You should rest tomorrow. And then instead, I'm going to go to the open house. Right? Sometimes some people don't want to bother their agent and they want to go see a home. But if there's an open house, they will go. If there isn't, they don't want to bother the agent. The one that I told you about, the bat, they had another home there. I helped them selling. The house was on the market for $900,000. Day one, we got $900,000. So we already had an open house scheduled the next day. And because they're a good friend of mine, they were like, oh, you don't have to do open house. Why don't you take a day off and we are good? But then I said, we already scheduled the open house. Why don't we just do it? So I did open house. Somebody walked into open house, fell in love with the home, made an offer for $950,000. Yes, I spent a couple of hours that day, but they got $50,000 more. When I sold my personal house, we had multiple offers, but the winner of the multiple offers was actually the people who came to the open house. So open house can be hit or miss. Sometimes you get the buyers, sometimes nobody comes, sometimes it's just the neighbors, or neighbors sometimes know who want to move into the neighborhood. So I personally 100% recommend doing an open house. Okay, do we need to pay buyer's agent? A lot of people know that there was a law change last year, and since then we don't have to pay buyer's agent. Interestingly enough, we never had to pay the buyer's agent. In Minnesota, buyer agreement says buyers will pay buyer's agent this much. But if seller pays it, the obligation is reduced, meaning buyers are supposed to pay their agent. But if seller pays, then they don't have to. We never had to. It was always negotiable, but there was kind of tradition. Traditionally, they were paying this way. So right now, it's not about do we need to pay or do we not need to pay. It's more of the strategy. Agents are getting paid through their clients, sometimes through house price, sometimes through there's a commission from the seller, right? So imagine the buyers are bringing 5% down payment, and then they have a 3% for closing costs ready. If the seller doesn't pay their agent, that means they have to bring in more, 3% more or 2.7% more cash to be able to buy a home. Then they will compare this home versus the other home that sellers are willing to pay their commission. So for that reason, it's not so much of a do I need to pay, it's more of a strategy. We want to attract as many buyers as possible, including the one who cannot afford it. And buyers will always think about, what's the downside, what's the plus? When you add all this, how much is this? And how much is this house, the net price? How long does it take to sell the house? I thought this question is interesting enough. I wanted to show you a chart. This is median days on the market in Woodbury. This is all price range in Woodbury. It only includes a previously owned. I didn't want to add new construction because new construction takes way much longer, and all seller type, all size. You can see there's a 60 days down to like very quickly. So I would say average wise, maybe 30, 40 days. How about the homes between 600 to 800,000? Now the days are a little bit more. It takes a little more to sell, about 2 to 3 months. How about over 800,000? Now we see more like huge range. It could take a year to sell. It could take no days to sell. What I notice is once it's over 800,000 or especially over a million, there aren't too many buyers who can afford that. So buyer pool's small. But if buyers see something they like, they will buy it because they know there aren't too many homes. At the same time, some of the high price homes are very unique. Then you are really narrowing down your buyer pool. So it could take longer time. So one of the example was I one time sold a home with when I'm meeting people, I tell them usually how many days it should really take to sell your house in this market, in this condition. This home had an indoor swimming pool in Woodbury, and the home has not been renovated since built, but nicely built home. And it was anywhere between 800 to 900,000 range. So for that house, I told them probably will take 6 months to sell the house, and it did, because it's one of a kind and the price is higher. Once that we sold the house, we are under contract. What happens next? Buyers and seller both sign the agreement. Buyers will send the earnest money to the listing agent's brokerage, and then buyers will do an inspection. The lender will send an appraisal. That is to check the value of the home. After the appraisal, that's when we remove the staging. And then the seller will change the address, mail, utility, those changes for the move. And then the seller will sign first, pre-sign, so you don't come to the closing anymore. And then buyers will sign. And funds are dispersed to the fees for the counties, to tax and the commissions. No, actually, commission comes later. And then you get the proceeds. Cost of selling a house, you pay off your current mortgage or second mortgage, and any unpaid bills from contractors. Some of my contractors are okay getting paid at the closing, thankfully. So like, for example, my carpet people, they are okay. I hire them enough times, so they are okay getting paid at closing. And if there's a special assessment, oftentimes sellers are paying. So that's going to be actually written in the purchase agreement. Listing agents, broker commission, and each broker has a flat broker fee. Coldwell Banker is $5.99. So commission is negotiable. I have seen a flat rate commission, and I have seen anywhere between three for the full service agents. It can be between anywhere. I have seen 3% to 4.5%. Buyer broker commission also negotiable, and I did tell you it's about marketing plan. And oftentimes I do see 2.7%. Title company charges fees and prorate taxes, and state deed tax for Washington County is 0.0033 times the amount. And county recording fee is $46, conservation fee is $5, and the sum of the HOA has a transfer fees. And then title company will take some money for the estimated water bill that comes in later. So I went through all this, and I will give you a summary, and we are almost done. So if you're falling asleep, it's time to wake up. Find the right agent to discuss the next step on if and when to move. That will be one of the biggest thing to do. And then she'll take care of the rest. Now I am going to go through any questions might have. Well, thank you so much. I am going to stop sharing. Thank you. Let's see. Do we have any questions? I don't see any questions written, but in case there is, I'm going to wait a couple of minutes. Feel free to raise your hand. Okay, I still see attendees, but nobody's either. I did a phenomenal job that I answer all the questions you already have, or you're asleep. Tim, are you asleep?
No, I'm here. There are no questions.
Okay. I so appreciate all of you for joining me, and you know where to find me. Oh, if I have a heater, Heather garage that is not working, should I remove it? Heater, garage heater. If you have a garage heater, if it's not working, instead of removing, you could just leave it and then put it in the seller disclosure says garage heater is not working. I don't think the people are not going to buy the house, not buy the house because of that. You're welcome. Any other questions? Remember, there are no bad questions, no dumb questions. All good? You know my number. You have my number, my email. So feel free to call or text me if you have any questions. Well, thank you so much again. Have a good night. Bye.